born from above. You see, even today, few have wealth, but almost not a single one enjoys it. I look at one of the owners of one of the biggest football clubs in England, Russian man, and he's a billionaire. And a sadder, more miserable looking face would be hard to find. You see, there are two different blessings. One is the gift of wealth, and the other is enjoying it. And you find that in Ecclesiastes 5 and verse 19. Every man also to whom God hath given riches and wealth, and hath given him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and to rejoice in his labour, this is the gift of God. In Ecclesiastes 6:2, and man to whom God hath given riches, wealth, and honour, so that he wanteth nothing for his soul, of all that he desireth, yet God giveth him not power to eat thereof, but a stranger eateth it. This is vanity, and it is an evil disease. You see, Adam and Eve were driven out of the garden so that they couldn't take of the tree of life, which would result in everlasting life, and the joy and the comforts that are part of everlasting life. But they actually got pain, suffering, sickness, sorrow. In order to terminate this, death would have to take place. You see, so we have to understand their position and how death comes into this and how it is all linked together with this wrong idea of an immortal soul. So when they sinned, they were put out of the garden so they couldn't take of the tree of life. But God had to terminate their sad condition. I mean, Adam lived for 930 years, was it? All those people at that time lived for hundreds of years. But as you know, God said, in the day you eat of it, the tree, you will surely die. And with 1,000 years as a day, yes, not one person has attained a lifespan of 1,000 years. No one. But you see, death had to come to terminate the suffering. In Genesis 3:24 we see that's when he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. So this is a direct contradiction of the doctrine of the immortal soul. Adam didn't have an immortal soul. Adam was very, very, very human, and so was Eve. I have asked Bible scholars what they think the spirit of man looks like. They told me they didn't know, but they thought it was something on the forehead, something just there. Similarly, believers of the immortal soul can give you no idea what it looks like. But we have got a document called The Spirit in Man, which deals with this subject. The spirit in man looks precisely like the man, right down to the most minute detail. Think of it as a hologram of a man. You see it, but there's nothing to touch, because it is spirit. You know, there's a report of Lazarus and the rich man, which we deal with in the document, The Spirit in Man, which I suggest you go and take down from the website. And there you will see that Lazarus and the rich man who died, and they were buried. Well, the rich man was buried. Lazarus probably was just thrown on the rubbish heap, as happened to the people who couldn't afford it. But the point is, in this area called paradise, which is not heaven, this is the holding place of the spirits of the dead. There was the pleasant place and the place of torment. But the point is, their spirits were communicating with each other. They recognized each other. They spoke to each other. They reasoned and that sort of a thing. Is this an immortal soul? No, it is not. Because these spirits of these two, the Lazarus and the rich man, like all human spirits, can be destroyed. In Revelation 20:15, it says, "And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire." The eternal God can destroy anything that he has made, whether it is physical or spiritual. I wonder, why do we think that he cannot do this? He can. He really can. And to think that the murderers of millions of people, and we have some about right now, killing people by the heads of the governments, killing and making suffering for countless thousands and even millions of people. Do you think they've got an immortal soul that's going to live on forever? And a few prayers from somebody down here, a couple of Hail Marys and rosaries, is going to save them? That's not what the Bible says. You see, it is very important for us to understand about this immortal soul. It's a lie. But we need to still know about the spirit in man, because, you know, we need to be able to distinguish between the spiritual counterfeits that will exist, even amongst our friends. Somebody could turn up at your door, appearing to be your friend and not your friend at all. How would you know the difference? I'm mentioning this just to show that the spirit can completely fool you, simply because unless you touch it, you wouldn't know. But I don't really want to go down there, because the Spirit in Man document deals with that. You see, we have been given the tools to discern false spirits. It all comes down to demanding that the spirit, or the person in whom the spirit is, confesses that Christ has come in the flesh. Evil spirits do not do this. They would not believe that Christ comes right now, today, and dwells in his genuine people. 2 John 1:7 says, "For many deceivers are entered into the world, and confess not that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh." This is a deceiver and an antichrist. You see, Satan and his demons, his evil spirits, hate even the name of Christ, because they have no choice but to bow down at that name. Emmanuel Laney makes that quite clear in Delivered from the Powers of Darkness. We have this on our gifts page as a free download. You really need to read this. 31, I think it is, pages. Astounding. It will help you to understand about the spirit. And it will also help you to see that the immortality of the soul is just a lie.